technology has never stopped evolving throughout the time of man, and in these recent years, it's definitely exploded a lot faster than the previous ones, being about the past, like the 19th and 20th century. So, just to go over a little bit of what has happened with computers in general, we got the typewriter, which basically is now the keyboard. We got radios, which is like Spotify, Pandora, all that stuff, YouTube as well. You got cameras, which are insanely high pixel quality now. You got floppy disks that are completely obsolete, which is bigger like data storages. I mean, you kind of get the picture here. This stuff, it's always evolving. But throughout that, even though there's email now and all that, where you can text message, there's still a mailbox in front of most people's houses, at least in America. And this is kind of what I'm going to segue into with AI art. This mailbox here is kind of a representation of it stood the test of time. It still is used today. You can still send your mail to people with an address. The banks send mail to you. Basically bills get sent to you through mail. You get spam mail. So this is very much a real thing. And going into Adobe Firefly, to me, I have seen a lot of different AI art generators. I've used Night Cafe, which is a really specific one that I use. I don't think a lot of people use. Midjourney is a big one. But Adobe Firefly, the company that basically spearheads every single digital anything, is making their own basically AI generator. It is the best one I've seen so far. Midjourney may be up there, but this one is going to take the cake. It's insanely powerful. I think this thing will immediately erase most freelance jobs. And I'm just going to talk about kind of what this program does, and then I'll talk about how I think basically what people can do to try to prevent their jobs from being lost, or what they can transition into to have a job in modern society, because you're just not going to stop this by any means. AI art is here to stay, and it's being thrown out there by the company themselves, who makes the most, almost like a stab in the back to the people that use their programs, because the same people who are crying for help use Adobe programs, and Adobe says, no, we're actually going to make our own AI art generation software, and we're going to make it better than all the other ones. So it makes your life even harder. It's not really their intention, but I can definitely see them be perceived that way. This is the front web page for Firefly, and it kind of goes over the details to what you can look at, to kind of what they want to give you. And it looks like you can take basically even images within the image that it created, crop it out, and have it AI art generate over that. That is something that is very new. I have not seen this at all in, at least in Night Cafe. Maybe in Midjourney, but I don't even think that's possible in Midjourney either. You can go in here, you can make basically draw something very basic, and it turns into something really cool that you can edit immediately. This means anybody can do art. There is no reason why I would ever need to hire a freelancer, is kind of what I'm saying. This makes it to where anybody can do art, and even if you have to pay for this software, who cares? You can do infinite art. Next, we got even video editing here. This is kind of like After Effects, getting into that kind of realm, I think. And you can basically choose a scene for this image to be in. It adapts the scene to the image, and it makes it animated. That's incredibly advanced. I have not seen this at all. Most of the time it's just images. This is a legitimate editing of a whole scene to make it animated. That's crazy. This one I'm not super familiar with. I'm not like super into like content creation type stuff, but it looks like you can add in a bunch of pictures into a template, and then it creates kind of a group around that like template you send, which is really neat. And then next up, this one is absurd. Now you can do most of this stuff in most 3D softwares, but if they can do this to the where it's more effective and more efficient, as well as it can actually be easily done by anybody without even needing to know a program, you just like drag and drop things. This is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. It can basically put it can put textures onto a 3D model. That's crazy. That saves so much time, and you don't even need to know a whole lot to do that, it looks like. And this is some of the the art they generate out of this is crazy. It's so good looking. And you can sign up for this beta. It's just go to Adobe Firefly, sign into your Adobe account, and just sign up for it. So you can do that. I have seen this. You can basically like adjust this like after it's made, you can like adjust how the image looks. It's crazy, dude. Like this reminds me of like Halo Forge when you can like kind of adjust like where the spawn points and stuff like that are. This is like just doing it for fun, man. I really want to get into this beta and make a video over it to see for myself what it is. But you can go in here and you can kind of take your own images, and then you can just make it into a style of an artist that you like. And that's not art theft, okay? I'm just going to say that straight up, super controversial. That is not art theft. That is making an image off of other people's references. That is what every single artist does to get better. The computer can do it significantly faster, which makes people angry. And I understand that. I like doing art. I went to art school. I also like computers. In my opinion, artists, including myself, are very selfish over their art, and they want their art not to be tampered with because they want their art to be their art. The unfortunate part is, with that thought philosophy, everybody that gets good at art has to learn from people that have already done good art. The computer is taking that to an extreme advantage here. And with you making your art public by putting it online and everything like that, you're fair game. With most of those softwares, I'm sure in their terms of service, that's kind of how that works. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how it works. It's really is how it goes. It looks like you can blot out some stuff here and then adjust it later. And you have the natural looking photo mixing to make it to where this stuff is crazy. They can actually make it look really realistic. So with this said, I personally believe freelancing is dead. Fiverr, concept artists, even Fiverr illustrators, done. Wiped out. I'm not going to pull up their art because I just feel like I don't want to judge anybody on their art. So I'm not going to do that. I have hired out freelancers and they have made really, really good images. I'm not even going to pull up their art of my art that I have of them. I bought, I think, probably about $1,000 worth of art. And it's really good art for the most part. With that said, if I'm going to go make something now, and I have to go basically make a lot of images, I'm probably not even going to go touch that because it's $40 a piece. It's $30 a piece. I can go on here and get a prompt and make an image in probably 5 seconds and have like four images of that one prompt. If I don't like it, I just reshuffle it. And the program's probably going to cost like $50 and probably like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out $50 probably for 5 months or something like that. So it's like $10 a month. It's going to be, this is revolutionary. It is, concept art illustration is probably going to be dead. What I would say to recommend to people to actually try to bypass that step, I would look into Blender, ZBrush, Houdini. I would look into some other 3D editing softwares, animation softwares, VFX softwares. And the reason is because currently in its current state, AI art is not good enough to fully generate these crazy effects, Blender models, ZBrush models. It just can't do that. That takes a really high amount of probably resources for a server to run to even do that, let alone generate many at a time. So when you generate an image, it's taking, I don't know exactly how it works, I'm assuming it just takes kind of a group of images and then morphs it around that premise, and then it spits them out. When you have to do a 3D model, it has polygons and rasterization things that you have to adjust for, and depending on what software you're using, it could be a lot to render on just one computer, let alone an entire scene. And a whole scene is going to be a lot, and it's going to be very intensive on a server. So my thing is, if you actually want to be an artist in current day, you have to do almost a 3D Photoshop overlay, which is very prevalent in the art community, and you can look up the video Concept Art is Dead. That was made like in 2017. I think it's totally dead now. I think it's completely, for your average Joe who just wants to make a cool story, donezo. Absolutely no way I'm hiring anybody for $40 of like anything. Why would I do that? I can do it. This art looks just as good for the most part. Not all of it's going to be great, but you can get ones that look really cool. So I would recommend Blender and VFX, 3D software. Animation is not going to be easily done for a while. Now, when I say animation is not going to be easily done, I'm not talking about rigging and making your dudes move and stuff like that. I'm talking like full-blown, like anime type stuff. Although that probably is going to be done probably faster than 3D modeling, I don't think that's going to be touched for about another 5 to 10 years. So I would recommend, if you want to do animation, I would say animation's still safe, in my opinion, unless if I just haven't seen a software for that yet. It's going to be safe for at least another 5 years, 10 years. I think 3D software is going to be at least safe for another at least 20 years at least. I just think the power it's going to use to run that, I might be just totally wrong, but the power to use to run that software is going to be incredible on all the servers running it. And even though this is Google and Adobe running most of this stuff, at this point, it's still going to be very intensive. You would have to pay a lot for something like that to run properly. This is what I was trying to talk about with the mailboxes. Although all of this art is going to be substantially better than most people can ever draw, there will be some sort of people that want to buy organic, handmade, man-made, drawn artwork. With that said, if you can label your art as organic, handmade, hand-drawn, man-made, anything of that sort, people will look for that now. It has not been done like that before. Once Adobe drops this and it becomes mainstream through Adobe, people will want to buy man-made artwork. And you need to label it as such. That is the only way they will distinguish that. If you don't do that, you will not get sales as much as that because they won't actually know if that's man-made or not. Granted, you won't actually know for sure, but I can tell you this much. If you have a physical drawing of it, I would draw it first on paper, and then, even if it's crappy, I would then do it on the actual computer. And then say, this is my sketch I did, and then maybe even show a video of it online on YouTube or something like that, just to be like, I double prove that I drew this. And it's man-made. This is made by me, not a computer. If you do that, you will get sales. I guarantee it, or people will look for you as that. And people will get a following over you for that. That's my 2 cents. So basically, you got the organic method of mail, or the organic method of drawing, or you got the computer-generated mail like email, or you got the computer-generated method like AIR generation. That is how I see this progressing, and I don't feel like I'm wrong on that. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you on our next one. Bye.